Hello, AMA families. How are y'all doing? So, welcome to my webinar. I'm broadcasting to you from my home office, and it's so great to connect with all of you. I hope that you're all doing well in these uncertain times. Hi, Debbie. Great. People are saying hi. Thank you so much. I wanted to make sure that this was going to go well and that the technology would not fail me. So far, so good. So, I never thought that I would be broadcasting from my home with my AMA family um, while having a global health crisis. So I just have to say, take a moment and be thankful for all the technology that we do have access to. And just if you could imagine, where would we be 20 years ago? 19 years ago is when I started training in karate, and I can't imagine how we would have fared back then. So I just took a moment to really point that out. We are all very lucky to have this access to this technology. So once again, welcome to my webinar. You'll have to excuse any home commotion that might be going on. I do have a cat. The dog may bark. Who knows if the doorbell will ring, but please just excuse all of that. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sensei J Crieghton, and I am from the Milton Dojo. And my webinar today is about Sanshin Kata. So specifically, it's how this kata can be practiced in a way that cultivates and restores mental and emotional well-being. Or if you want to think about it as emotional vitality, I think that's a better word. And just so you know, I am keeping it simple. We'll be together tonight for about 30, maybe 40 minutes. So it's not going to be too long. I want to make sure that I'm honoring everybody's time as we're settling into these, we're getting into our new routines. So before diving in, if there are any other people that want to say hello, that would be awesome. But it looks like technology is working well. And just wanted to echo what Shihan Seer said in his webinar on Monday, that it's very important for everyone to stay centered and not to invite all the negativity that's around us, especially not to allow it to seep in and stay. So if you weren't able to watch that webinar, I highly recommend that you go and watch the replay, and there's a link that you can do that on. Also, keeping that theme, I just want to encourage all of you to stay on top of your mental health as well as your physical health as we go forward. There's going to be Tai Chi and guided meditations that are happening. My webinar tonight is specifically focusing on that theme. It's really important that we bring balance to the mind and the body. So just be sure, if you can, to follow those aspects as well as the physical training that we're going to be doing for you. Karate is just more, as we know, than the physical. It's also the internal and the mental well-being. So as I said, getting right into things,
close the garage door.
Sanshin Kata can help cultivate your mental and your emotional health, believe it or not. And if you've never practiced guided meditation or visualization, I do recommend that you just dip your toes into it now, just to help to stay above the stress that's going on. This morning, I found myself, I woke up, and I haven't had this happen in a very long time, but I woke up with some anxiety, and I could feel it, and I haven't felt that in a long time. But I no sooner had opened my eyes than within a few minutes, it was in the body, and I knew it was there. So I did my Sanshin practice that I'm going to share with you today, and that made things go smoother, and I felt a lot better after. So a little bit about why I chose this topic is I was really inspired to go deep, just researching and experimenting with this kata a few years ago, actually quite a few years ago now. I've been training for about 19 years, and I noticed back when I started training in the martial arts and when I first learned this kata, I noticed that from the moment before doing the kata to right after the kata, I felt different. I would say I felt better. In those days, I did suffer from depression and generalized anxiety. And I noticed that after I practiced the kata, I felt a lift in my mood. In the beginning, it wasn't really extremely noticeable. I just noticed it. I wasn't really piecing any puzzle pieces together. But I also noticed that the anxiety felt a little better, and it's a big reason why I stayed with the martial arts. So my hope today is that if anybody's going to be experiencing anxiety, or if anybody does, that this practice is going to help you guys. Okay, sorry, I just got a note. There's a lot of external noise. Sorry, I'm just going to break for a moment and see if we can fix that. There is no external noise on my end, but let's see if we can figure out what's going on. I'm just going to connect with my IT guy. Oh, I think he heard me. So are you, okay, sorry, just he's saying that there's external noise. Should we be asking other people to mute, or is it on my end?
No idea.
Okay, we aren't sure, so I'm going to ask that if anybody has the ability to mute, that maybe they do so if they can still hear me. It seems like there is people that are hearing okay. Is there anybody else that is having difficulty hearing the webinar? Sean, there's some people that don't have access to sound. Now, Daryl, if you don't have access to sound, do you normally?
On the webinar, they wouldn't be able to control sound.
Okay.
And I can hear you fine on YouTube.
Okay. So we're, okay. Seems a bit glitchy, they're saying.
Just keep going.
Okay, well, I'm just going to keep going, guys. We're going to just have to keep going. We really don't know what the issue is. So I hope that maybe it'll fix itself as we go. Okay. All right. Thanks for the feedback, guys. So I'm just going to carry on. So my hope is that if any of you are going to be experiencing or currently experience anxiety, and as we go forward with these uncertain circumstances that we're all experiencing, you may find yourself experiencing some. So we definitely don't want to be staying in anxiety and in any negative spaces for too long. The interesting thing for me, for Sanshin Kata, is that I really believe that it's quite extraordinary kata. I believe it's unassuming, and I think that when you first learn it, those aspects of the kata are not there for you. You're just learning schematics and how to get through the kata and understanding the breathing and the tension. So I just want to say, for me, it's been extraordinary. It has a lot of hidden pieces to it. I find that I've discovered with becoming better at bringing about vitality by using that kata. So I just wanted to share that. If you have an interest in exploring it more with this webinar and after, I invite you all to maybe try this practice that I'll share with you, maybe for the next 7 days, and see what it does for you. Okay. So I'm just going to pause for a moment. Hopefully you all can hear this okay. I just want to see if anybody knows what year Sanshin Kata was brought to Okinawa. Does anybody remember what year that is? Don't Google it. That's cheating. Sorry, that was the dog. So I'm going to repeat that. Does anybody know what year Sanshin Kata was brought to Okinawa? So somebody wrote in 1887. That's close. Definitely 1800s. Very, very close. Anybody else want to take a guess? All right. So the actual date was 1881. And does anybody know where it was brought from? So it was brought to Okinawa from where? Anybody want to take a guess? And again, don't Google, but you may feel free to take notes. Very good, very good. So I've got one answer. Anybody else want to take a guess? Excellent. So yes, China. Okay, we've got some specific South China, Fujian province, but definitely China. So awesome job, great. From White Crane Style even, fantastic answers, guys, that's excellent. I hope you're not Googling, I hope this came off the top of your head. So this kata is a foundation kata for our styles. Some of you may know that already. Sorry, for karate, it's a foundation kata. And what that means is that many of our forms are derived from Sanshin, like Saifa and Sanshin. And because it came from China, it has a very, very strong Chinese influence. And when I think about it being such a foundational kata for karate practitioners, it really extends into my understanding and belief that it's an amazing foundation building kata for us in our daily lives. So the application of it when we're taking it out of the dojo and into our daily lives is fantastic because it really can build a foundation for health. So Sanshin Kata is also known as a hard Qigong form. It's used in its hard form to improve martial arts techniques. So when it is used for martial application, it is considered hard Qigong form. That is the Chinese influence aspect coming through. So when we're developing proper power, this kata can develop power. You can hone your technique because it's done slowly with tension. You can really work your technical punching skill. As I said, developing power, it can translate into better sparring, better performance of your katas. So when we're looking at Sanshin, it's excellent to develop the other areas of your kata as a practitioner. And also just to emphasize that it is a hard Qigong because of the contraction and relaxation of the muscles, along with the kind of breathing that we do. The ibuki breathing that we do with that kata is considered hard Qigong. Soft Qigong would be what's considered Tai Chi. So Tai Chi doesn't have that tension. It does have more of a relaxed and fluid movement to it, but the breath work is there. There can be visualization as well, which is very much part of Qigong. Now, Qigong translates to Qi or Qi, which is the first part, and that is life force or energy. And I want you guys to think about it as your vitality, that which makes you feel good inside and well. And then Gong means work. So think of the work aspect in this application as the practice of directing your vitality or directing your energy using your imagination, your breath work, and visualization while you're doing the kata. You'd want to think of the visualization similar to when you're practicing your other katas, but you're imagining an attacker in that sense. For Sanshin, you're actually imagining energy. You could, I mean, you can imagine anything, but in this case, it's energy, vitality, Qi, and I'll be taking you through an experience of that at the end. And just so you know, interesting thing about imagination work and visualization work, it's known to drop your brainwaves and regulate them in a sense, I guess. And you can go from a very excited, nervous state or an anxious state to a much more relaxed state. And I have had this experience. I mean, I haven't measured it. I don't have equipment to do that, but I can tell by my own state in my body when I do it. So the more relaxed state would be known as theta, alpha or theta waves in your brain, if you want to get technical. The more excited states are gamma and beta. And beta is sort of what we're in most of the time in regular life when we're just living. And then when you're anxious, they bump up a little bit. Okay, so I wasn't able to get this to show on your screens, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this graph. It's clear on my end, so I'm going to assume you can see it. But we've got up here, you can see is gamma. This is beta. That's our everyday. This is theta. This is alpha. This is theta, and this is delta. So theta and delta are those relaxed states. Delta is your sleep. Low alpha, high theta are the waves that you feel when you're relaxed, when you're zoned out. Sorry, like, you know, when you're in that zone, either you're maybe watching TV and you're zoned out, or you're doing a meditation, those would be the brain waves area that your brain is functioning in. And the important thing about that is your body restores itself in those waves. It cannot restore itself in the other waves when it's extremely excitable. And this is why stress and being in a stress state, and why Shihan says, don't allow that to seep in and stay, because you're going to be in that state and your body is not going to thrive. So the wellness aspect, it's important that we can bring about and shift as quickly as we can so the body can do what it can do in that restorative state. The body is very good at healing cuts. It's very good at healing colds and flus and staying well and working through things when it gets the rest that it requires. So don't get me talking about sleep and recovery, because that's another webinar, but it's very important that you sleep well. And when you can do restorative practice during stressful times, very, very important to keep you balanced. So there are two uses, I guess, basically for Sanshin Kata. There's that martial aspect that we do in the dojo. And then of course we can bring it to our home lives and practice it at home to bring about restoration and vitality. So I do have a few notes. I want to make sure that I'm staying on track. I find that practicing Sanshin in the way that I'm going to be showing you guys is really appealing probably to people that can't get into the Tai Chi flow. It might be too slow. It is very good. So if you can start to practice it, if you don't yet, then please just dip your toes in. It's you'll see it not only will improve your karate, but it's going to improve all areas of your life. And start with Sanshin. So here's another question. We're going to take a bit of a pause again. Do you guys know the translation for Sanshin, or what does it mean? Anybody know? What does Sanshin mean? I almost gave it away. No Googling. So I have someone who mentioned it. Great. Other people are coming up. Awesome. Okay. So 3 battles. Yes, the 3 battles. And the 3 battles are, and some people said it already, but the 3 battles, what are those battles? Great. Okay. So the 3 battles are mind, body, spirit. Excellent. You got it. So if you think of there being a fight or a battle between your mind and your body, I want you guys to think of the battles as being internal. What would a battle or a fight between your mind and your body look like? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown on that. You could be in a situation where you, and I'm sure we've all been in this situation, where you get the sense that you should or shouldn't do something, but you talk yourself into either doing it or not doing it. So you kind of have this conflict going on. Typically your mind talks you out of it, but your body, if you listen to what it's trying to tell you, it's usually a sensation, kind of like your gut speaking to you. And then something happens and you reflect on it and you're like, oh, I should have listened to my gut and I didn't. And then you're learning. None of this is bad if this happens. That's important to remember. It's just a learning opportunity. So to me, that's the fight. Okay, that could be the fight or the battle between the mind and the body. Can anybody relate to that? Has this ever happened where you talked yourself into or out of something and then kind of regretted it later? Getting some yips often. Yeah, me too. And remember, don't beat yourself up over it. We're all human, right? So the other way to look at the 3 battles between the mind and body, and I'll talk about spirit in a moment, but is to think about separation, disconnect, misalignment. You know, there can be the extreme where we're really conflicted, and then there could be our daily life where we're actually not in alignment. And there's an easy way to tell whether you are or you're not. But for the purpose of this webinar, where spirit comes in, as I just want you to think of it as the energy that flows through you. So when the mind and the body are connected and aligned, then your energy can flow the way it's supposed to. You're firing on all cylinders, right? And that's really important. And some people like to think of that energy as our vitality. You can think of it as the energy that's within us, the energy that's around us, the energy that connects us. So some people like to use Mother Nature. That's what speaks to them. Others like universe. Some people go as far as calling it microcosmic energy. Whatever it is that speaks to you, that can define that for you, is really important for you to just connect with your word. And for the purpose of this webinar, it's really the energy that's flowing through us and around us. So whenever we're not connected, obviously if there's conflict going on between our mind and our bodies, the energy isn't going to flow through. There could be a blockage, a disease. You're going to see it come up in your body. Just to give you an idea, a little bit of a story of when I was a child, and this is actually an example of an aligned moment. It's quite an extreme example. So I was 8 years old. I grew up in Pierrefonds, Montreal. And back then, I'm sure some of you can relate, it was in the summertime, we were out at dawn and we weren't home till the streetlights came on. And we would just play all day. I'm pretty sure I had breakfast and dinner and kind of skipped lunch. So we were playing at a friend's house, literally across the street from me. And we were playing in the front yard. She had a beautiful big front lawn. There was 3 of us playing, and there was a car came along the street. And I remember the street name was Fox Street. And there was this brown, huge, sort of old 70s style car, man driving on his own. And the passenger window rolled down, and he slowly rolled up, and he stopped and he called us over. And I remember as a child, and I will never forget this, my entire body lit up in a way that just alerted me that something wasn't right. And we weren't really taught about the dangers. I mean, it was sort of brushed on at home, and they talked about not talking to strangers, but I mean, the emphasis wasn't there. But my body was telling me there was something wrong. I could feel the hair on the back of my neck, and I just stood where I was. I was riveted and not feeling that great. And I remember hearing in my head, no. Now, I didn't verbalize that, but it was a strong knowing. So my friend, of course, she argued with me. Come on, we have to go talk. He said, grown up, right? We have to go and talk to the grown up. She went over, I remember she put her hands on the window, leaned in, and he told her to get in the car. And I heard that, and I shouted at her, no, don't get in. And he, I guess, got startled, whatever, and he started to drive away. Now, later we found out that this man was picked up for attempted kidnapping. Now, not in our circumstance. I guess he had tried to do it somewhere else as well. And I will never forget that moment. And that's kind of an extreme example of what I'm getting at. That's a very aligned, like in the moment, everything's firing, because you got to, you know, in those moments, trust what your body and your mind are telling you. And I guess more importantly is trust what your body's telling you. If your mind is starting to doubt, then perhaps you need to take a breath. So when there's a separation or misalignment of the mind and body, it just means, as I said, you're not firing on all cylinders. And in everyday life, because you're not going to have examples that are that extreme all the time, hopefully not. But you're going to know you're not aligned because you're going to feel it, right? You're going to feel off. And that's the best way to put it. You might be grumpy, moody. If you have an illness, it's very difficult to stay connected and have all cylinders firing. We need to rest and recuperate, which is part of the process. So you want to take note of how you're feeling. If you're feeling that way, you can easily use the Sanshin Kata to shift yourself into an aligned feeling, or into an aligned state, a connected state where you're fully connected. And you're going to know when you're fully connected because you're going to feel better. You're going to feel a fully connected state is when you're experiencing either neutrality, so you're just neutral, or anything above that. So it could be joy, laughter, happiness, it could be a beautiful sense of peacefulness and an overall sense of well-being or wellness. So those are 2 ways to know if you're in or out of alignment for an everyday application. Another thing to watch yourself is by not being aligned is when we spend too much time in one area, if we're spending too much time in the mind or too much time in the body. And I'm just going to pause again and see if you guys have any examples of what you think it might be if we spend too much time in our minds. Like, what does that look like for you? Anybody have an example? If you have too much focus in the mind and you're like, oh, I'm just too much in my head, that would be an example. Yeah, great answer. Monkey mind. Definitely monkey mind. Worry and anxiety, absolutely. That's right. You forget the needs of your body. Exactly, because you're not thinking about it, so you're not connected, and you're letting your body get run down. Great answers. So what are some examples then of being too focused on the physical or too focused on the body? What can happen there? So you're not really in your mind. You're not connected with your mind. And all you're doing is focusing on your body. What do you think? Yep. Someone mentioned for mind or body, forgetting things like appointments and responsibilities. Using it as an exercise outlet is great, but overindulging, that's another answer someone said. Awesome answers, guys. Going through the motions, but not really connected to anything. Excellent. That's exactly right. These are signs. These are cues for you to notice that you're not in alignment, and you can easily bring yourself into alignment with the Sanshin Kata. How simple is that? You can do it in other ways too. There's meditation, there's Tai Chi, there's guided visualization, there's walking in the park, going for a hike. And there's all kinds of ways to get into your alignment. Enjoying time with family dinners. I mean, it's not just Sanshin. Some other things that I want to point out about being too much in the body is that machine mindset. So when you're training and you push, and you're just going to get to that goal and you're not thinking about anything else and you do it and you get injured. But then you're going to keep doing it because it's not really a bad injury. You can push it a little bit more, right? Like you can go to class. I'm strong. And what's going to happen is if you don't give yourself time to heal that injury and to really use your common sense in the mind, your body's really going to let you know. And I like to say the universe has its way of sending messages either through injury or accident when we're really not paying attention. So it's important to know, again, that being in tune, our bodies are organic. We cannot push them to a machine level. We are not machines. So it's important to create that harmony and make sure that you're taking care of this organic being that you are, because you want to last a lifetime. Awesome answers, guys. This is fantastic. And just remember to be gentle with yourself, right? We don't want to beat ourselves up when we're not being perfect. This is not a perfect practice. This is something that you're going to fall in and out of all the time. It's just how quickly can you be aware to catch it and then reestablish things. So just keeping in with the time, we're doing really well. So we're at about the half-hour mark. So I'm going to take you through the practice of aligning your mind, body, and spirit using the Sanshin Kata. And you guys can do this with me at home. I just want to invite you guys, as I said earlier, to try this out for the next few days. And I would love to hear some feedback as to what your experience has been doing that. Now, I do want to make sure you know that when you're practicing Sanshin, if you practice it with the full tension one time per day, that's enough. We don't need to be putting that amount of internal pressure many times a day. You can certainly practice the kata with the mindfulness that I'm going to be going through with you many times in a day if you need to, but not with that full out tension. Okay, so we're going to go through the kata in just a moment. I want you to take a moment. You're just going to maybe relax in your chair, close your eyes for a second. I'm just going to ask you to scan your body. So I want you to see if there's anything in your body that we can calibrate today. So this morning I woke up with an anxiety level that I would rate as about an 8.5. It was just there. And then my mind started to go figure out what was going on, what was wrong, and I could feel it heightening. When I was done the Sanshin practice that I'm going to share with you, I had brought it down to a 2. Now that's not a 0, but it feels like a 0 to me, really. And my day has progressed very well. I haven't had to do it again. I haven't had to take any breaks. It's just feeling really good. So I want you to find something that you can calibrate on as well. So it can be anxiety. You might have a bit of a headache. There could be tension in the body. I do this in my classes after a very strenuous class. I take the class through this kata to focus on an area that might need to release some tension. And we get some pretty good results from the students. So find something. Might be tension in the shoulders. You might have a little bit of a backache. Maybe you have a bit of a cold or you're just feeling off. Rate where you are right now. You want to find something that's maybe above a 5. So your scale is 1 to 10. 1 is not really noticeable. 10 is extremely noticeable. So find your number. Find your thing. And if there really isn't anything that you'd like to work on, just work on a sense of well-being. That's okay. This is for your practice. I'm just giving you a couple moments to grab your number, figure out your number. So I'm going to assume that you all have your numbers, and it's important for you to rate this if you're going to do this practice sometime in your days and weeks coming up. Just so that you have an experience, that you know it's working. Our minds really need to have proof, and I call it a proof point, where you want to see that something has shifted, and that really pleases the mind. And if you don't get a shift, that's okay. I encourage you to continue to practice because noticing subtle shifts in the body does take time. So don't give up. And this can be done, if you don't know Sanshin Kata, this can be done with keyhorn katas, done at a very slow pace. This obviously can be done with Tai Chi if you choose to do it in your Tai Chi practice. So what I'm going to do is, if you have space in your home right now to stand up, and we're just going to go through we're going to go through Mukso, because we're going to hang out in Mukso for a little bit longer than you're used to. And I'm going to do some visualization with you guys, which is very important. Remember that visualization and that imaginative work is really important to lower the brainwaves. So I'm going to, that happens in Mukso and a little bit throughout the practice. So you'll just follow along. If you're in a chair and you don't really have the space or desire to stand up, just sit a little bit forward in your chair. Make sure your shoulders are over your hips and that you have room to pull your chamber hand back, because we're basically just going to be pulling our chamber hand back and doing the first 3 moves of punching. So that's all that's required. Follow along if you've never done Sanshin before, that's okay. And you can't go wrong with this practice. So however you're internalizing this practice right now with me, you cannot go wrong. It is perfect for you. Okay, so I'm just going to get myself ready, because I'm going to stand up so that you can see me. All right. Okay, so here we are. So you're going to just stand with if you're standing, stand with your feet shoulder width. Make sure your shoulders are over your hips, shoulders back, chin tucked in. And you're just going to stand upright and close your eyes. Make sure your palms are actually facing forward. Okay, so palms are forward if that's comfortable. If not, just loosely at your side. So closing your eyes. And I want you to take a big breath in through your nose. So we're not in Mukso at this point. Hands are just at the side or palms forward, and closing your eyes, and you can see me and that's fine. Just breathing in through your nose. Fill the lungs, hold it at the top, and you're going to exhale through your mouth. And just allow the tension to release from your body. Inhale through your nose again. Holding and release through your mouth. Third big breath in through the nose. Holding at the top and exhaling through the mouth. And keeping your eyes closed. My eyes will be open and closed. Whether you see that or not doesn't matter. But keeping your eyes closed, allow your breathing to return to its natural rhythm. And just be aware of it. So I want you to bring your awareness to the center of your head. And I want you to imagine and visualize. Now, whether you see something or whether you don't, just attempt to. It's just as effective. So you're going to visualize a ball or a sphere, okay? Give it a size and try to center it in the center of your head, behind your eyes, between your ears. And in Qigong, we're going to call that the upper tanden or the upper sphere. And just try and center it for a moment as your breathing is just at a natural rhythm. And now bring your awareness to the center of your chest. And you're going to place with your imagination and your mind's eye another ball or sphere at the center of the chest. Give it a size. This is the middle tanden or middle sphere. And you're going to imagine this is fire energy in this area. So give that a representation if you like. Color. And try to center it below your upper sphere or the upper tanden. And don't worry if you can't. Just try. And if it's more comfortable for you to allow your eyes to be slightly open, just allow your gaze to be soft as you glance down. And bring your awareness to your lower abdomen, between your navel and your pubic bone. And you're going to imagine another ball or sphere at the center of your abdomen. And this is associated with water energy. You can give that a color if that helps, size. And you're just going to imagine that you're centering that ball or sphere under the other two. And be aware of the natural inhale and exhale of your chest. Now I want to bring your awareness to just outside your body, above your head. You're going to imagine a ball of energy. It could be chi. It can be Mother Nature energy. It can be white or gold. Just give it a color. Just slightly above your head. Roll your eyes up. If your eyes are closed, keep them closed. You'll just roll your eyes up like you're looking at that energy. And this is just imaginary, of course. You're going to imagine that you're bringing that energy through the top of your head and filling that upper sphere, the upper tanden, with this beautiful white light or golden energy that's full of vitality and full of energy that you can use as your resources. And you're going to imagine the energy going down your neck and your shoulders, down your arms, out your fingertips. Follow it down into your chest, filling your middle tanden or the middle sphere. Continuing down into your lower abdomen, filling that lower tanden, down your legs, your thighs, knees, calves, feet, and into the ground. Take a big inhale through your nose. As you're imagining this energy fill your body, and exhale through your mouth anything that doesn't serve you today. And as you're breathing in and out, imagine this energy is flowing through your body. And I want to bring your awareness to your lower tendon. Imagine that this energy is now extending out the lower tendon from your tailbone down into the ground. And you can imagine it really anchoring you deep into the earth. We call this a grounding cord. And as you inhale, imagine this energy filling your body. And as you exhale, give permission for any tension or any noxious energy just to leave your body down the grounding cord and exit. Continue to do that with your own breathing for a moment. And one inhale through the nose. Feel that energy fill your body. And as you exhale, feel anything that doesn't serve you release out. So now if your eyes are closed, just gently open them and soften your gaze. And you can bring yourself into Mukso for just a moment and feel how you're feeling. Relaxed, but aware and alert. So from here, we're not announcing the kata. All we're doing is we're going to separate our hands into that first position or that opening position. And this would be the next 3 moves where you're going to draw that elbow back and imagine that energy entering your body. And as you exhale with tension or with a little tension, you're going to imagine anything that doesn't serve you going down the grounding cord. Inhale that healing energy, let's call it, and then exhale, release anything that doesn't serve down the body. And the more that you can bring tension to the body as you're punching, the more you'll feel the relaxation as you relax the muscle. Inhale, with tension, exhale. Imagine the energy exiting. That doesn't serve you. Inhale. Exhale that energy that doesn't serve you. Good. And then the other side, the 3rd one, draw back. Inhale. And exhale. Last time, inhale, fill the lungs, holding and exhale, release. Good, now bring your hands together. We'll end it and just shake your hands and your lower body. There should be a general sense of awareness, but hopefully some relaxation. So now as I get myself settled and you guys too, before we wrap things up, I want to see how you guys feel. You're going to just scan your bodies again and see and rate now the same area or the same aspect that you were working on. Is there a change? Did the number change at all? If it did, hopefully it's lower and it isn't higher. I haven't had that experience. But just for your own purpose, if there's anybody out there that would like to share that they had an experience, then please do so before we wrap up. Excellent. Good. So someone's saying that they felt amazing. Oh, that's awesome. I love to hear that. Please continue doing this if you need it for the next few days. Someone said they had a reduction by 2 points. That's awesome. So continue to do that in your practice. I have had excellent results. And even in the classes, sometimes people come in with back aches, from tension, and they're leaving feeling really good. So I do believe there's something to this. So I hope everybody had a great experience today. Somebody's emotions were heightened and they felt so much calmer after. They're a 1 now from a 7. That's amazing. You're welcome. You're welcome. Great to hear from you too. So guys, I'd love to hear feedback if anybody wants to share it. Of course, you're going to take this practice and you can do it through the whole kata. And I encourage you to ki-ai as loud as you can when you're at that point. And I forgot to mention, this can be done with the Q belt version or the black belt version. It's up to you if you know the black belt version. You can take this into any practice really for Kihon kata. So I want to wrap up. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. It's been a real honor. I wish you all safe travels. I mean, from home to your yard and maybe to the grocery store. Keep up with the news. Keep up with us. We love you guys. We miss you guys. I know I'm not speaking only for myself, but for all the other directors. And I just wish you all lots of love, and we'll see you again very soon. Have a great night.